Hi, I'm Melanie Giacomo with Real Estate Experts, and today I have Audrey Hutton here, my preferred lender.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So last week we talked about the DSCR loan to purchase an investment property. I recently had a client who I helped purchase their home about 2 years ago reach out and ask me what options they have if they want to do a step up to their next home, whether they need to sell first in order to buy, or if they can use the equity that they have in their home to purchase their next home. So, what are your thoughts there? What kind of options do they have?
Yeah, and I think everybody's going to be in this spot at least some point, right? So people usually move anywhere from 3 years to 7 years. And now that we've kind of come out of COVID, a lot of the arrangements that people made for that, now they're wanting to switch it up, right? So I think the first thing is timing. So we always look at what's going to put the client in the best situation when they're looking at moving, because the more time that you have, the more options you have and the less expensive it's going to be. So, for example, I think you mentioned they were asking about an equity line, right? Like, hey,
Right.
do we have equity? That's going to be the cheapest option. So, if you have plenty of time and you're just kind of thinking, hey, maybe next year we'll look at buying. And so, if you can set up an equity line now, for one, that's going to be considered an owner occupied equity line. So you'll be able to pull out more cash. You can just have that line available and you're not paying on it until you actually use that line. But that way you can use that money as a down payment. So the next option is, and probably the more common one, because people put that off until they see a house that they actually like. And then they call Melanie, hey, I saw a house. I need to make an offer right now. So in that case, there's options with if you have the money accessible or if you don't. So sometimes people have that money regardless if they have the equity line or not. So if you have that money, then we can just basically qualify you with both home purchases, right? So that's the second option. If you don't qualify with both home purchases, then there are options to not count the debt on the current home. So we would just be using the debt on the new home. And then we could do a bridge loan as well. So that way you can access the money. Bridge loans are very expensive, but they're very quick. So my advice to everybody, as soon as you have that thought in your head, like, hey, maybe we'll move in the next year or two, that probably means that you might see something much sooner. And the more time you have to prepare is so much better. And we can go through each option with you guys to see what's going to be best for you.
Awesome. So basically, the advice would be call us as soon as possible so we can figure out what the best option is as far as pulling out that home equity line for the next one.
Absolutely. People make decisions that are really going to impact you for years. So then we're here for you. And Melanie's amazing with being able to look at, properties and market conditions, and I can run the numbers and we can base it on a high and low. So that way you can really understand what are your options as you're planning for the next couple of years. When we do a purchase, we get you into that home, but we're also looking at your whole financial portfolio for the next 30 years. Do you need to buy an investment property? Do you need to buy something else for a family member to be able to retire? So the sooner that reach out to Melanie right away so we can just start running some numbers for you so you know what to do.
Right. So with that home equity line, then if they purchase their next home, are they able to rent out the original home that they first purchased?
Yeah, if they qualify. So, and that's what the numbers, a lot of times people just assume they can or can't do something. It's all about the numbers. And even if the numbers don't work, there's plenty of programs that really help investors and are geared toward investors to where if the numbers don't make sense, we can still make it happen based on knowing that you have the income to support it. And there's other ways to validate that.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Audrey.
Absolutely. Yeah, great topic. Thanks so much,
Yep.
Melanie.
Thank